First of all, thank you for coming, and we thought we'd save you a little time so you don't have to follow tail numbers and airline reservations and all that kind of stuff. And first of all, I might just say that I was a little bit surprised that there was as much interest in the baseball job as there appeared to be. It seemed that great many applicants from many conferences around the country were complimentary of our facilities, and they realized that there's a fairly significant commitment to baseball here, and that seemed to be fairly common knowledge. And one thing that they often commented on was that the fairly recent past success that we've had was appealing to them, because I think everybody wants to know if they go someplace that at least it's been done there. And so for that reason, we had a lot of applicants and did a lot of screening, and ended up talking to a lot of people and interviewed 6. And some of those were assistant coaches, some were head coaches. And they weren't just from the South, they were from the North as well. And the first person I talked to was Darin when I started on the process. And Darin showed a great deal of wisdom at that point, because he indicated that he probably should talk to his wife. So I figured that he was a very knowledgeable person when you started off with that parameter. And so I wasn't real sure where he was. And so I narrowed the list of outside candidates down to 2, and was planning to bring them in and have them meet various people here and interview them. And then I had another conversation with Darin. At that point, he indicated that he and his family were fully committed to the job, and that he understood what it would involve. And so I thought it probably wouldn't be fair to bring the other guys in, because I felt he was the best candidate, and it would be kind of a waste of their time to do that. So the reason I feel strongly about Darin is I think he's committed for the right reasons. He obviously cares about Nebraska baseball a great deal. He is interested in developing and serving players, and maybe he can tell you a little bit about that. Money does not seem to be a major concern of his, which is kind of refreshing in this day and age. And then some other things that were important. No other destination. I don't think he's going to do this job to get ready to go to the next job. And he's had a lot of experience at the highest level, and knows what good baseball looks like, and probably knows what bad baseball looks like. And then lastly, I would just say that I did take the time to call quite a few of the players, and really didn't find anybody who was not very supportive and complimentary of Darin. They have a lot of trust in him, feel that he's somebody who would be a great fit, and so the big advantage he has is that he knows the situation here, he knows the players, and they know him. And sometimes it takes a while to get adjusted, and so I think there will be an adjustment period, but it won't be as long, and it won't be as pronounced as it would be otherwise. And so we're just really pleased that he wants to do this. We think he'll be the ideal choice. And you didn't come here to listen to me, so I'm going to sit down. And I'm supposed to engage in a little show business here. I got to give him a hat. So come on up, Darin, and we'll let you.
Good? All right. A while back, I had a meeting with Coach Osborne, and I sat in his office in South Stadium, and I had a videotape in my hand of punting I did, and he looked at me, and we watched it, and I hit a few, and he'd be like, "Oh, that was a good one," you know. I'm like, "It's the best one I could kick." He's like, "That's a good one," and didn't really have much for me. And next thing you know, he says, "Well, you want to play football for Nebraska?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." He goes, No, really, do you want to play football for Nebraska?" I said, "Absolutely." And we walked across the hallway and changed my scholarship over to football from baseball and won a national championship. 18 years later, I'm sitting in North Stadium, and he's asking me about my interest in the head coaching job of the baseball team. And I said yes. And he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes." And well, let's just say winning a CWS championship would be a nice way to finish that story. I'm humbled and honored to be here, to have this opportunity. It's like a little faster than I would have ever expected anything to happen, yeah. But sometimes things happen for a reason, and this was a place and time, and let's do this thing. You know, from a winning side, you know, yeah, we want to win the national championship. From an academic side, I understand the importance, and I saw what Mike Anderson, Dave Bingham, and Eric Newman did as far as the academic side. I mean, APR was perfect, and that structure is in place. I mean, the kids get it. They understand what's expected of them, and I'm going to carry that on. And not only that, I'm going to do the same thing. You know, I didn't get my degree. I haven't finished. But the last few years, I've been taking classes to finish my degree, and I'm committed to doing that. And it was supposed to be a surprise for you, Mom, but surprise, you know. So this kind of sped that up too, so surprise. But anyway, like Coach said, it just there isn't another place I would rather be. Am I completely experienced for this job from a recruiting standpoint, from an administrative standpoint? No. But the support staff that I have here and the assistant coaches that we're going to have, I'm going to lean on them, and I'm going to use them, and I'm going to learn quickly. And I am just so proud and so honored to be standing here, and just can't think of a better place to be.
Do I have a question for Coach Erstad? This is the first.
Wait for it.
Go ahead.
Darin, how fast can you turn this thing around?
I don't think it's going to take long at all. We've got some experience in our lineup. We have some tremendously talented young pitchers. We have another class coming in, and just getting them in line and getting them to play hard and play to win and playing for each other. And you know, I think a lot of the times that these kids come from different types of settings where they're showcased, and they need to learn how to win. Well, we're going to teach them how to win on the baseball field, off the baseball field, in all walks of life. I mean, I've said it so many times where I came in here as a boy, and I turned into a man here. And there's no way I personally could have ever signed out of high school and been ready. But I left after 3 years here, ready to go. And now I'm in that process of finishing the rest of my education, and along with doing this.
What did Jessica tell you then once you confided in her?
She just said, "Fine, whatever." Was that what it was? Something like that? But, you know, honestly, we talked, and family is very important to me. You know, everybody, I've heard so many times, well, is it the right thing for your family? You're ready to commit the time. I've never been afraid to commit time to anything, so that's just not an issue. But what I was sensitive towards was, is this the best thing for them? Is it the best thing for Nebraska? And, you know, what really sold me was two things. One thing my wife said to me was, the effect that you can have on so many kids is just amazing. Coach Osborne, look how many people he affected throughout his whole life of influencing their lives. And she said, you're in that same position to do that as well. And I was like, that's pretty powerful stuff. You know, to have a passion and a purpose in life, and doing this at Nebraska, it's just, I can't think of a better place. And my kids, you know, at first, you're at the baseball field all the time, you're thinking that, well, maybe you're going to miss them. They just fell in love with the players. I mean, they're sitting by the dugout, they know all their names, they know their walk-up music, their numbers, and they were a part of it. And I didn't think that would be able to be that way, but it turned out to be that way, and that sealed the deal for me. It was pretty special seeing them.
Hey, Darin, as your major league career was winding down, did you see this as a path you wanted to pursue coaching, or do you have any idea exactly what you wanted to do?
I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I played with a lot of guys who had that 5-year plan perfectly set down, and 2 years later they're, spinning their wheels. It didn't work out, and I just kept an open mind after my playing career was over. And well, I'm glad I kept it open because I had no clue that we moved back here before Coach Anderson even offered me the volunteer job, and then, it didn't even crossed my mind to be a head coach. I had this grand plan of helping Mike get things back on track, and well, plans tend to not work the way you want them to sometimes, and here I am.
Do you plan on retaining any assistants, and what's your timeline for filling out the entire staff?
I'm going to get 2 new assistants. I'm going to fill the volunteer role and the operations role. Curtis Ledbetter will stay in operations. In the other spots, I've had conversations, and we're going to try and get this done as quickly as possible. So we're in that process, yes.
Is there anything in part, what are the traits you're looking for in those 2 main assistant jobs? What are the foremost qualities that you want in your assistants?
Absolute number 1, stud recruiter. Going to have somebody run the ship as far as recruiting goes. I'm going to have to lean on them. Obviously, I need to learn a lot, and I'll learn fast. The second one, pitching coach. Slam dunk, great pitching coach. Guys be credible right out of the chute. And the other guy, I just want a lot of fire. I want somebody that knows their thing. And since I was pretty much horrible as a hitting coach, I probably should put him in charge of hitting. So I'll just oversee every stuff.
Darin, what are the challenges you face as keeping Nebraska a high-profile program in the Big Ten?
I think Nebraska sells itself. I think it's pretty easy sell as far as the program, the facilities. Once you get them on campus, it's over. I mean, they fall in love with it for good reason. And, I think my actions speak louder than words as far as moving my whole family back to this city before any of this even happened. Just the pride we had in this place. And as far as recruiting challenges in the Big Ten, you're just going to have to be darn good at what we do and evaluate the right guys and not miss and be able to put that together. And that will go back to the recruiting coordinator really being able to do his thing. And I don't have experience in recruiting, but I've been watching baseball games and playing them for a long time. I know what talent is, and I know what it looks like, and we'll be just fine.
What's the biggest thing you took away from this last year coaching with this group of players?
Well, for me, it was the passion that the players had. I mean, they just put so much work into it, and to see them not succeed was very frustrating, and I felt terrible for them because they did. They did what we asked them to do, and it just didn't get done for whatever reason. And I think that was probably the most refreshing thing is the type of players we have and the type of people we have. They're tremendous people, and I feed off of that.
Darin, having been a coach this last year and then living in Lincoln and following it the season before, what do you think are the things that have been missing, the past few years, that are
consistency.
Okay.
That we've had a lot of times where the going to get tough. 6th, 7th inning, you're in a game and have one little piece of adversity and boom, 6, 7 runs. Then the demeanor of the team would kind of waver and confidence would be lost, and we never really had that fight. Well, I think that just goes to having them prepared to play, and it'll be my job to have them prepared to play, and they will be prepared to play, and they'll be ready for those situations. And like I said, we got to teach them how to win, and we will.
Kind of a unique circumstance that you were with them last year, but have you had much player support or talked with any of the guys in the last couple of days, some of the players coming back?
I've called almost everybody. I mean, I've tried to call everybody. Everybody's dispersed for summer league, so I haven't been able to get through to all of them, but I've called them individually and told them the situation and that I'm the head coach and we're bringing 2 new assistants in. So I'm big on keeping lines of communication open. I want them to be able to be honest with me, and I'm sure going to be honest with them. So I just think that's the best way, and they seem pretty responsive.
You called them today?
I did, yeah.
Darin, you say you want to win a College World Series championship. What's the goal for next year, though?
Well, win the Big Ten championship, get to regional, super regional, straight to the College World Series. If we're shooting for anything less than that, I'm not going to take this job. There's no points for second place in my book, and that's just the way it's going to be, and that's the expectation and the standard that we're going to be held to. And if they don't have that, they're going to have to get on board pretty quickly, because that's how we're going to act.
You're such good friends with Coach Anderson. Did that was a little strange taking his job? You know?
It's awfully strange. You know, you just never, you don't know. I mean, it wasn't even on the radar. I mean, it didn't even occur to me that would happen. And when the opportunity came, I mean, it's the chance of a lifetime. I couldn't pass it up. I called Mike last night, and I mean, he was so supportive and said congratulations and anything I can do to help. And it was just a compliment to the kind of guy he is.
When did you start considering this as a serious opportunity? When did it?
Probably in the last week, maybe. You know, it happened pretty fast, but you know, we had good talks with my family and a few conversations with Coach Osborne, and just kind of one thing led to another, and it just felt right.
Darin, when you were an athlete, what qualities in a coach motivated you to be as successful as you were?
Honesty. Just being completely honest with you know, what a guy was feeling, what position what standing you are with the team, and the other one's consistency. Treating players the same exact way, regardless if they're 20 for 20 or 0 for 20. I just believe you guys stay the same. Baseball is so full of ups and downs, and they're your guys, and you're going to stick with them through the whole thing. And those are the two things that I respected most about the coaches that I played for.
Darin, I know he's not on the team yet, but have you talked about a Starling and all since taking over?
I haven't. Said hi to him at our Kansas game. He was there, but I have not had any contact with him. So.
You're going to try to talk to him here after the draft?
I'll reach out to him. I have through email a couple times through the season, and yeah, I mean, I'll talk to him just like I do every other recruit and treat him like every other recruit, and you know, he has a decision to make, and we'll see what happens.
When you think back to when you were 18 or 19 and you were first here, how long did it take you to know that this was going to be a special place for you? I mean,
well, I thought it was pretty special on my recruiting trip. I was here for, I think it was a Washington football game in '91, I think it was, and I was pretty much sold right there, sitting there with my dad in the north end zone watching them warm up, and it was just a passion. You feed off of that. I didn't follow Nebraska in high school, and got around it, and you just get hooked. And you know, we obviously moved our family back here. We believe in it. We want our kids to go to school in Lincoln, and regardless of what happened in this situation, they're going to school here. We're raising our kids in Lincoln. That's how much we believe about this place.
Darin, you've got cold weather roots. Have you had the job long enough to think about recruiting? Do you want to go national? Do you want to try to hit Ohio, Chicago, Minneapolis? Have you thought about where you want to try to recruit from?
Yeah, we're for sure looking to the Big Ten areas. I just have a philosophy, and nobody's getting south of us. I mean, I've pretty much, being from North Dakota and being around South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, if there's a player up there, we're going to get them. And you're just going to have to do your homework. And obviously East, you're going to have to do your homework. And if there's guys in Texas, we'll go to Texas. California, we'll go. We have, you know, as far as the staff, we'll have tremendous connections all over the place. So we'll use them all and you know, get our relationships built throughout the country and see where it takes us.
How much did that day-to-day grind factor into the decision? I mean, did that weigh one way or another for you in terms of taking this job?
The grind has, man, that's what I've always done. I've never done anything that looked pretty. So grinding is kind of fun to me. So that part of it, the work side of it, the time side of it, had absolutely no bearing on this decision. This is, hey, we're all in.
You handled the hitting last year. I mean, will your approach to how Nebraska's offense is going to look, will that differ now that you're the head coach from what was there last year?
I'm sure it'll be different. I think it'll be much more aggressive. You know, I really want a lot of speed on offense. I'm a big action guy. I mean, I learned under the best, Mike Sosha, I mean, it's chaos on the base pass, and that's what we're going to have. It's going to be straight chaos. And that's what we're going to build it around, and there's going to be people flying around everywhere.
Somebody wants to punt, that's a baseball player, we let him do that?
I sure will.
Other questions for Darin? Photo with family?